Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. TJ here, and this is Trash Talk, Narcissist Trash Talk. And tonight's topic is a little discussion of one of the covert narcissist's favorite pastimes, which is they tend to love to rip the rug out from underneath you. When dealing with the covert narcissist, the one thing to remember is that these people are interested in getting a reaction from you. And that could be a positive reaction, like awe and something praiseworthy or compliment, or screaming names at them. They love to press buttons to get you to react, and one of their favorite things is if you overreact, because their game in this world, especially with the flying monkeys around you, they will be like Mr. or Mrs. completely normal around others, and because they're covert, they will do these other things in sneaky ways so people around won't see it. Only you will. It's your special gift. So they will have already studied you and will already have a pretty good inventory of the types of things that really get you, and they will pursue those things. And their ideal situation would be to continue the normal face for everybody else, but do some kind of thing to you that really gets you. And then when you explode or scream or whatever reaction that's like overreaction, they will capitalize on it. And they'll use that reaction to tell their flying monkeys, all I did was ask him or her this, and he or she screamed and called me this name. Oh, poor me. And then the flying monkeys will be like, oh, he or she had no right to do that. You poor thing. And that's just one of the games they like to play. But the specific example I'm giving, which kind of ties into some of the other subjects, is like the covert narcissist, for the example, would be you meet the person, you hang around the person, and you can't help but think that some of the stories or tales that you're told just don't sound real. I mean, if you didn't know this person and heard a stranger tell them, they might be believable, but the more time you spend with such a person and you hear these stories, whatever they may be, they just don't ring true. And like in my case, I've got some kind of something going on in there that, like a BS meter, where I've been with a few where I'm in conversation with them and I hear the words being spoken, and it's just the BS meter in the head's like zzz, zzz, it's buzzing, because it's like a Marsha Brady voice is saying lies, 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 and you're like, and you're hearing it. And I would sometimes even like say, that story isn't true, that's a lie, because it was such a strong feeling. It could have just been intuition based on what I already knew, but regardless of whatever it was, I sometimes would be, that's a lie. Well, let's just stick with honesty then. So you're hanging around this person regularly, and you still get the idea on many occasions that the stories being told just are not real. They just don't fit reality. And you could be polite and just keep that to yourself, or you could be like I was with a few and just like challenge each one like that story. There's no way that's true. And they'll be like, yes it is, yes it is. And see, and you have reason to believe they're not real, but you can't really prove that they're not real. You can argue your points. Like you can say, well, the reason I don't think that story's true is because, and you can give like an educated discussion to that any regular person could hear and say, oh, that makes sense. But for some strange reason, these mask wearers will be like dismissing the entire thing you're saying and will just say, oh no, what I told you was true. And it's a really empty feeling with this because you can't really debate back and forth because you're going on and on about why you believe what you believe, but all they're doing is sticking to the original claim, period, and there's like nothing to work with. So you can try to say, well, the reason I don't think that story's true is because, well, think about these times when this thing happened, and again, we're getting to the specific example, but you just find yourself like full of debate material. You find yourself full of points to make, and yet you don't get anything in return, like a counter discussion, at least acknowledging what you're stating and how this part might be true or that part, but instead it's just completely rejected. The whole thing, every bit. That's a sign, too, you're dealing with one of these monsters. However, say 6 months go by, and during these 6 months, several different stories have been told that you detected as false. And sometimes you get frustrated and you say, look, why don't you tell me the real truth? I don't believe these stories. And they may make themselves into a victim and say things to you like, I can't believe I'm your best friend and I would never lie to you, and all you do is think I'm lying all the time. Oh, poor me. Fake crisis actor tears. And you're like, I'm just stating. It's like you're looking for an equal as far as like the debate, and you don't get it with these people. It's just like, oh no, whatever I said first is true, period. And when you like challenge with evidence, observations, common sense, logic, none of it works. It's like your cell phone on another planet, no reception, and you try to get it to work and it doesn't work. Well, let's say you've carried this thing on for several months or maybe years, and eventually you feel kind of competitive, like certain stories just seem so phony, you become determined to pull this cat out of the bag because you can tell it's there. So you may ask other people questions. You may check up with claims that are made to verify them. And of course, if the covert narcissist finds this out, they will act like a victim again, saying, I can't believe you're asking other people about me. Oh, or if someone else does tell you something really bad that goes right along with your suspicions, you'll be told that person's lying. You're going to believe them and not me, which as if you have so much devotion for them when they're lying to you, which you basically uncovered. But what many times happens is it's like all these lies are like consistent with one another, and it's like you get the idea. A double or triple or quadruple life is going on with these stories and things that you're disproving. And of course, if you get caught spying on something because you're doing it because you're pretty sure that your view is accurate and know that this person can keep this going as long as you don't ever see anything, so you want to see it and call it out for what it is, well, what will happen in many cases is you, this whole time, think that you are dealing with a like-minded, regular human being. And honesty is a great attribute to have, so it's like part of your brain wants to believe, wow, the person who's so interested in honesty would be a good friend, but still can't help but think that those stories just, I don't buy it. So after all this time, which usually involves you being together a lot and being close and possibly isolated from like other big groups of people, and finally, let's say the straw that breaks the camel's back, which comes out, and then that also sets free like 50 other lies that are like a huge avalanche. Well, your experience with this person all this time has been, oh, that's Mr. or Mrs. Honesty. That person's honest all the time. That person's always telling the truth. And then here these bombs explode where you're seeing or hearing that closer to what you had suspected is actually the truth. And so here you are, again, assuming you're talking with a real person. And we all know that real people, if they hold beliefs that they feel necessary to repeat every single day for real, well, they'd probably have something pretty interesting to say to explain how these lies could have been told or something else. But what typically happens is all these months and years of Mr. or Mrs. Honesty mask, all of a sudden it's all thrown to the curb because you're seeing that none of it was true. Well, that is when the rug starts to be yanked out from under you, because all you've ever heard daily is how honest this person is, and now 1,000 lies have surfaced. And then, of course, your brain goes through all the effort and all the times you pointed out, like, the reason I think this is a lie is because, and you've like gone through all of this, which, by the way, is abuse, because you are trying to state what you feel and believe based on facts, and you're told it's all wrong. Well, now all of a sudden it's all right, and you were actually accurate. And the normally expected reaction of a huge apology, a deep philosophical explanation or something does not come. And in fact, you're so shocked to see this person who's worn the honesty mask all this time. When it's finally dispelled, they're like, all of a sudden, they catch you off guard with some kind of excuse, such as, so what if I lied about those things? I didn't need to tell you the truth because, and they have some invented special permission slip that only they knew about, even though you were like talking about it all the time, trying to get it uncovered for all this time. They're entitled. You're not. So you did not need to know this. And that's what's sick, because here you think you're spending time with a good friend who's close and like-minded, and then they about-face switch masks drastically from truth teller forever to crazy evil liar. And it's kind of hard, your cognitive dissonance, trying to think, okay, it's really honest, oh, but it's really lying, oh, it can't be both at the same time. Well, remember, you're dealing with what could be considered a robot who is pretending to be a human being. So they don't understand that when they claim to be a certain way repeatedly and then decide, or you find out they're not what they said, it's just they just cast the whole, like it's a suit they threw out and put another one on. And it's, well, you didn't need to know the truth. And you think, wait a minute, what about all that talk about truth and how it's just rug has been ripped out from underneath you because you thought you had an idea of who you were dealing with, and your brain's been split for all this time, which is emotional abuse, because half of your brain wants to believe this stuff is a lie because it seems like it, but then the other half does want to give the benefit of the doubt. Think, well, maybe this person is telling the truth, and you're like caught in between, and finally the winning side is the liar side. And you may have gaslighted yourself this time, because if you really didn't see what did or didn't happen, you may have reason to believe, well, maybe I'm wrong. But of course, once it's discussed, then confirmed, well, at that point, you're like thinking a mixture of, wow, it's good. I knew that. I knew my intuition was right. But at the same time, you realize you're dealing with a rat. So it's kind of tough to deal with. But I'm interested in your stories of how the rug was ripped out from underneath you. Leave them in the comments below and share. Because it's really a strange situation, especially if you think you're actually connecting to this human being who can just so quickly switch from A to Z and not even think anything of it, and you're like, wait a sec, I'm still trying to process the A personality, and now here's the Z. Oh, peace and have a good night.
Well, all I can say is I haven't had the time to even contemplate where or what you're doing, or where you are, or what you're doing. But, in the random chance, you happen to know someone with a black truck who mysteriously got a flat tire? Well, don't look at me. After all, you should have stuck with me.
I lost my daughter at Sandy Hook. I lost her. She didn't have any legs. Tough. Other shop took care of that. But I'm over it now. I'm ready to start again. Come on, Obama, give me a new project. I am the narcopath. I'm here for more. You may wonder, what did I think of you? What did I really think of you?
So what? What if I did tell a few people that you cheated on me and I couldn't take it? They don't need to know that it was me who did it, and you're not going to tell them either, and if you do, I will sue. I will take you to court, because you have no reason to smear my name. It's just not fair. It's just not right. Just tell them it didn't work out like I do to, well, at least to most people. I don't know where she heard that. I never told her that. She's lying to you. She probably wants you. You have to believe me.